Hello, YouTube. It's your boy Nathan coming to you to do another recap video. Today we are talking 90 Day The Last Resort, Season 2, Episode 11, The Last Blow. So we just going to get on into it. Yo, this is why I did not want to cover The Last Resort. This is just exactly why I didn't want to do this season. And I said I was only going to do a couple episodes. I'm only doing this recap because since there was no regular 90 Day last night. So anyway, so this episode, this BS, last week we left off with Sophie talking to Jasmine. Apparently, Rob has been texting another girl while they've been on the resort. And Sophie's friend Kay has been messaging Sophie saying that Rob is still on a dating app or whatever. So, the couples are still at the camping thing in the middle of the desert or whatever, and with the hypnosis therapist. And so Sophie discovers all of that. So she decides to bring the group around and call out Rob about it. When Rob was just like, prove it to me. And then Rob just starts screaming like a maniac and everything. Oh my God, you're trying to make me look like the bad guy. You told me this. Like, it was just, this whole episode was just nothing but screaming and yelling. And it was kind of draining. I agree with Ari, and I'll get to her in a minute. But, apparently, Rob was on a dating app, but Sophie, when they were on their little breaks, they're kind of like Ed and Liz. Like, they like to break up a lot and take breaks. When they're on a break, I guess Sophie texted Rob and said, you can go live the single life, basically. And so Rob did. And his defense is that Sophie gave him permission to go talk to other girls and everything. And he went through his phone and everything, and he found like that message and everything, and it was like in December of 2023 or whatever and stuff. So that happened to be doing Happily Ever After, actually, because in December of 2023, they were airing their original 90 Day season and filming for Happily Ever After. So yeah. So after that, they all just started screaming. Rob was just screaming and like just throwing a fit and everything, and Sophie just starts crying and everything. And Rob's just screaming like, "You're trying to make me look like the man. You gave me permission, Sophie. This Sophie. Sophie and everything." So Sophie goes into the bathroom crying, and she calls her mother and everything. And Sophie is claiming that Rob doesn't think he's never does anything wrong, and I'm starting to see that because I've been on Rob's side until and Jasmine pointed it out. He's guilty, and he's screaming because he's guilty. And he is, and and me personally with Rob and Sophie, I think they're both problems. Both of them are problems, actually, because Rob is doing all that. But okay, if that text message was okay, but why is he at the resort texting other girls and stuff and everything? And then Sophie, Sophie doesn't act like she's married. And, and she came to the resort just thinking everything was all on Rob, but she has to take accountability for her actions. She needs to like be there for him. And she is not there for him. This kind of reminds me a little bit what's going on with Married at First Sight with Michelle and David. Nobody's being there for each other, so one person's starting to seek elsewhere for the attention because their wife is not being there for them. So Rob and Sophie are both the problem in this. So Sophie can think it's all Rob and nothing's wrong with me. Rob can think, it's all Sophie, nothing's wrong with me. No, they both are the problem. Both of them are the problem. So there was that. So So that's happening. The hypnotherapist is also checking on Brandon and Julia because, like, a couple weeks ago, Julia revealed that she cheated on Brandon with her ex. They just kissed or whatever and everything, and like Brandon's like really hurt by it and everything and stuff and everything. And the therapist was trying to talk to them and everything and trying to get him and try to get Brennan to ask for forgiveness basically and everything, and he's just he's just numb with the whole thing. So while they're trying to do that, they hear Rob screaming and stuff. So the therapist decides to go and see what's going on, and they had like all the boys were on Rob's side with it, and all the girls were on Sophie's side with it, and everything. So the therapist had to come and break it all up and say, look, let's give them a chance to talk, but this has to be just about Rob and Sophie. It can't be the rest of you. So they get a chance. They get a chance, and it just didn't go well. Sophie just starts crying. Rob just starts screaming, and that was that. While all that's going on, then you got Goofy Natalie and Josh. And Josh about to be Goofy Josh too, but in this one mostly Goofy Natalie. Last week's episode in the tent, like, sleeping in a camping tent, like, that's not comfortable. Like, I wouldn't be comfortable with it. I got sleeping problems as it is. So sleeping in a tent in the middle of nowhere in a desert, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. You can't make me. I wouldn't be able to sleep either. So a lot of the couples admitted that they were tossing and turning so much throughout the night. And, I guess Josh doesn't like to be touched. And I'm kind of the same way. I don't like to, I thought I did, but I really don't. I don't like being touched when I'm sleeping. Because like I said, I have sleeping problems. I have sleep apnea. I got to sleep with the AC on even in the wintertime. That's how bad it is for me. So I see what Josh is saying. Goofy Natalie taking it as starts screaming. She just starts screaming randomly, saying, "Your body shaming me. Don't talk about it." She calls the whole group around saying, "Your body shaming me. Don't keep my body out your mouth." I'm like, and Josh is just like, "I never said nothing about your body. Like, I'm just like, I just don't like to be touched when I'm sleeping, like," and everything. I'm sorry you took it that way, but that's what I meant and everything. So she's just screaming and screaming and screaming, like just acting like a crazy lunatic. And Florian surprisingly stepped up. He took Natalie to the side and had her calm down, like give him a chance to explain and everything, and everything calmed down and everything, like it's okay. So Florian brings Natalie back to talk to Josh, and Josh is like, "Listen, Natalie, what I said has nothing to do with you. That's a me thing. I just don't like to be touched. It has nothing to do with you, your body, or anything else and everything. I'm sorry you took it that way." Now, I will admit, Josh did not need to say sorry for that because he really didn't do nothing. He did not say nothing about her body, unless there was some never before seen footage that didn't air. He didn't say nothing about her body. And so, like, Florian is trying to get him to hug and everything, and then I guess Natalie kicked them where the sun don't shine. And I'm just like, mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. So, yeah. So then anyway, after that, like Rob and Sophie like kind of calmed down a little bit. So the therapist like brings everybody together and separated everybody to do a group exercise. They kind of do like a little like breathing exercise, a little kung fu, like the kind of type exercise. And then she was like, "We're gonna do this, and then we're gonna scream and yell, not at each other, but just release all of our problems and stuff." So they're ooh and ah and oof and ow and oof and it and everything. All of a sudden, like Ari is getting like tired and frustrated, and she steps away to the side and starts crying. And then like the producers are talking to Ari and everything, and she's like, it's just a lot with the screaming and everything, and this is like the last thing I want to do, really. Um, and so Ari comes back to the group, and the therapist asks, "Are you okay, Ari?" And she's like, "No, nobody." And she goes on to say, "Nobody knows what I'm going through. Everybody's like a warning. Everybody's like bad behavior and everything. But nobody's calling out Benny for all the stuff he did to me. Like everyone's call." And then she randomly singled out Julia. She was like, she was like, Julia, you called out Rob on his crap and everything and everything. And Julia was like, I didn't say nothing. I was with her. Like when you guys were talking to Rob, me and Brandon were talking. And then Juliet said that Ari had to say that Juliet constantly needs male attention and everything, like pointing to Brandon, and like you probably think that she needs, are realizing that she needs male attention. And Juliet's like, what the heck? What attention? I didn't do nothing. I was sitting there with Brandon when y'all were talking to Rob and stuff and everything. And she was. She was. Like, I really don't know where that came from. I don't know why, like, Ari had the audacity to single out Julia like that and everything. And, she wants people to call out Benny for his behavior because, Benny's been popular there and everything. But she kind of contradicted herself because she was just like, I'm not a person. Nobody needs to know my problems and everything. But nobody's calling out Benny. Like okay, so nobody needs to know your problems, but then you're mad that nobody's calling out Benny. So like, okay, like which is it? And so like, the therapist was like, okay, enough, you guys, enough. This is ridiculous. All we doing is just screaming and attacking each other and everything. So Ari starts crying, and then the therapist she goes up and gives her a hug and tells she could sit this out and everything. And then the rest of the couples did their final ooh ah, and then released their big scream. And so after that, they all, that was the end of the camping trip finally, and all the couples took down their tents and went back to the resort. We left off with the episode with Gina and Jasmine. Last week's episode, like when we were continuing to figure out what hurt your partner the most, Gina just said something really just small, and Jasmine had asked him. I told him, I don't think that was really it. What really was it? And then we left off with a cliffhanger with Gina crying. So when I watch Between the Sheets later, we'll probably get a little bit more depth on that. But next week, we'll figure out what it really is. Now, like I said in the beginning, this is exactly why I did not want to do Last Resort. Because I could not take the screaming either. You got Rob screaming like a maniac because he's just mad because he got caught, really. Like I said, and I kind of been on Rob's side for a while. Like first I wasn't, then I was for a while, and I've seen videos of Rob really screaming at Sophie and everything. So I see her. I see the point. I see Sophie's point. But like I said, like they don't need to be together. Neither one of them. Like you got Rob. Like Sophie's not giving Rob the wife thing, and Rob is just now seeking elsewhere because he's not getting any attention from his wife. Then you got there's that. Then you got Goofy Natalie just always freaking out on something, and Josh was just like, "This is why I can't take her nowhere. This is exactly why I can't take her nowhere." And you got Ari and Benny; they're at a stalemate because, Ari just can't let go of the past and everything, and I don't know. Brandon and Julia, I do feel bad for Brandon and everything. Um, yeah, and Stacy and Florian, and judging by the previews, we're gonna get Darcy next week, so that should be interesting. So, and then Gina and Jasmine, it's just gonna be the same thing, the lack of intimacy issues. So, I just really couldn't stand this episode. No, I'm not gonna be doing it next week. I'm just so tired of this this season at the last resort is like, and I'm getting to the point where like I'm gonna still cover 90 Day Fiance, but when we get to happily ever after, depending on the couples, I may not do happily ever after either. Like it's just getting to the point. It's just now getting to the point where like it's just getting really draining. Like covering like the toxic couples that they like to bring back and everything, you know. And this is why I really didn't want to do the last resort. I just did it. I'm only doing a select few. Like if I didn't do a recap for a certain amount of time and everything, then I would do it and stuff. Or I said at the beginning of the season, I was only going to do it like in the beginning when I wanted to see when Natalie and Jasmine get into it, and I wanted to cover the shocking revelations and stuff. But until the commitment ceremony and everything, or unless there's another big fight, I'm not I'm not covering it until the end. I'm sorry. This is the last resort recap for a while. I'm sorry, guys. But anyway, that's the end of my review. I'll be back on tomorrow for the big one, to recap Married at First Sight, and I can't wait to do that one. So before I go, I just want to say congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles for winning the Super Bowl yesterday. Oh, and I forgot to mention, apparently Benny was part of the halftime show. I didn't know. Benny, if they posted it on social media, Benny was part of the halftime show with Kendrick Lamar and them, like one of the background dancers or whatever. Benny was there and part of that. Congratulations to Benny. Like that's a great honor and stuff. So yeah, but congratulations to the Eagles for winning the Super Bowl. Um, I'm sad football season's over. I'm a big football fan, but now we can focus more on my shows now and everything. So yeah, I'll be back on tomorrow to do Married at First Sight tomorrow. I'll do that one on that recap on Wednesday probably, and then next week we'll start the season 11 premiere of the original 90 Day Fiance, and that I'll be here for. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see y'all again soon. Bye, y'all.